What's going on, Reject Nation? Okay, listen, you guys might have heard us say this before. We're going to say it again. One of our reward tiers on Patreon is whatever video you request, we must definitely cover. And today's comes from a man named Andrew Hayes, who has the fattest ass in the world.
Oh yeah, he drops it like it's hot.
Best titties ever. He's actually going to be out here to attend the Live Collider show, which you guys should go attend. This is not a plug for that, but I will say we'll be there along with a bunch of other more popular people. It's going to be a total blast. And Andrew, he's coming on the channel the day before because he's visiting, and he's a great guy to us. He's been a good friend, and he's been pledged forever. So, yeah, you should come on the channel, man.
Join us.
He's got a great movie review channel. And because he loves movies, he tends to request these WatchMojo videos. You know, the channel that everyone seems to just constantly be on board for. I noticed most List channel videos, everyone like bitches about them all the time now. Like every one of them. What's one that makes you guys happy? They're all good. They're all opinions.
At the end of the day.
And I like WatchMojo's, and today they have a list of top 10 best movies of 2018 so far. What's funny is I wanted to make my own list with my experience with the channel, even though there will be comments of people going, why don't you guys just make your own list? They get nowhere near as many views as us checking out WatchMojo's.
Yeah,
but don't worry, we'll comment on the movies that they mention, and yeah, it'll be a discussion. It'll be fun.
Yeah, join us. Follow
Welcome to the Real Rejects, people.
How many have you seen? Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 best movies of the year.
Infinity War isn't number one, I swear to
God. We publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest
ring
videos.
The bell now.
For this list, we're taking a look at movies that received their US release in 2018, earning acclaim from critics and admiration from mainstream audiences alike.
These are good movies.
Number 10, Incredibles 2.
What? Number 10? Fuck you!
Wrong things right.
Pixar finally delivered the follow-up audiences have been begging for. It might have taken 14 years to catch up with the Parr family, but Incredibles 2 picks up as if no time has passed amidst a showdown with the Underminer. This sets the stage for a story full of stylish action sequences and hilarious character moments, with Elastigirl literally getting wrapped up in a mystery.
And Elastigirl is our best play. Better than
Saul.
Me?
Of course, the film gives the entire Parr family time to shine, particularly little Jack, who's a riot whether battling a raccoon or bonding with Auntie Edna. With storyteller extraordinaire Brad Bird back in action, this sequel did not let us down by any stretch of the imagination.
It really
Done properly, parenting is a heroic act. Done properly.
Number 9. First Reformed.
I've decided to keep a journal, to set down all my thoughts and the simple events of my day.
Despite not having a single Oscar nomination to his name, writer-director Paul Schrader has established himself as one of the most uncompromising voices ever to grace the silver screen. First Reformed is perhaps his best outing of the 21st century, exploring timely themes regarding the environment, religion, and military veteran suicide.
Reverend Toller?
Yes, Mary.
You must come over. You must come over now.
While we've seen these issues touched upon before, a film as surreal and provocative as this only could have come from Schrader's perspective. First Reformed functions as a fascinating character study of Ethan Hawke's Reverend Toller, who's either a martyr doing God's work or an alcoholic eco-terrorist about to crack. However you interpret it, the film will stick with you long after the credits roll.
Well, somebody has to do something.
Number 8, Paddington 2.
If we're kind and polite, the world will be right.
With a 98% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, you wouldn't think anything would be able to top the original Paddington. Against all odds, though, this sequel managed to be even funnier and more charming than its predecessor, scoring an elusive 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. In a plot involving stolen pop-up books and prison breaks, Paddington 2 serves up a visually stunning, family-friendly romp that you'll want to eat up like a marmalade sandwich.
What is this?
It's a marmalade sandwich.
One could even argue that the film offers relevant commentary on immigration, as Paddington fights against persecution and tries to reconnect with his Aunt Lucy. Speaking of which, if the ending of this movie doesn't melt your heart, nothing will.
Need I say more?
Number 7, Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Mr.
I had tickets to see this. I didn't get to go to them.
If you grew up watching Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, you will certainly have a strong connection to this documentary. Of course, even if the show wasn't a staple of your childhood, you might be surprised to learn just how influential Fred Rogers was. In addition to lessons on friendship and art, Rogers was not afraid to tackle topics like depression, persecution, and death.
I've always felt that I didn't need to put on a funny hat or jump through the hoop to have a relationship with a child.
In addition to younger audiences, Rogers' sincerity and reasoning could even resonate with adults, most notably during a U.S. Senate meeting regarding government funding for PBS. While the film doesn't shy away from Rogers' imperfections, it's ultimately a celebration of his life that reminds us that anyone can make a difference by simply being neighborly.
It's an invitation for somebody to be close to you.
Number 6, Annihilation.
These aren't decisions, they're
no split feelings on this.
They're impulses.
Following Ex Machina, writer-director Alex Garland keeps up the momentum with another instant sci-fi classic that's larger in scale, but equally thought-provoking and intense. Centered on a group of female scientists who venture into a mysterious disaster zone, Annihilation assembles an all-star cast that includes Natalie Portman, Gina Rodriguez, and Tessa Thompson. The real star of the movie, though, is its haunting environment, which is alluring and menacing all at once. Just as the setting has numerous different layers to it, the story is a monster movie and psychological thriller rolled into one. Even when treading on somewhat familiar territory, Annihilation stands out as a singular masterpiece that'll be talked about for years to come.
It's like they're stuck in a continuous mutation.
Big fan of how they broke
Number
that down.
5, Avengers Infinity War.
What? It's not number 1?
You're the Avengers, man.
It's debatable what the absolute best MCU movie is, but Avengers Infinity War fulfilled its promise of being Marvel's biggest achievement to date. Josh Brolin did not disappoint with Thanos' long-awaited arrival either, delivering an intimidating and complex portrayal of a warlord whose power is only matched by his charisma.
When I'm done, half of humanity will still exist.
Along the way, the film successfully incorporates almost all of our favorite heroes without feeling bloated. Everybody works off one another to perfection here, reminding us just how attached we've become to these characters over the past decade.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. Then I am Spider-Man.
If you had difficulty collecting yourself as the credits rolled on the shocking ending, you were probably grateful Ant-Man and the Wasp came along to lighten the mood.
You gave her wings
only
and blasters.
Number 4, A Quiet Place. It's interesting to think how some of today's most ambitious horror movies are coming from artists primarily known for their comedic backgrounds. With Get Out, Jordan Peele went from Mad TV to modern Hitchcock.
Give 3 other examples now.
A Quiet Place's writer, director, and star John Krasinski shed his Jim Halpert persona to deliver a tense, creative, and emotional thriller. Working alongside his real-life wife Emily Blunt, Krasinski plays a father determined to keep his family safe during an alien invasion, where even the slightest sound can mean certain doom. The film is naturally light on dialogue, but heavy on atmosphere, drama, and terror, submerging the audience in a constant state of caution.
Weird,
it is definitely worth making noise over. Number 3, You Were Never
Hey,
Really
I saw this.
With echoes of Taxi Driver and Drive, You Were Never Really Here centers on a deeply disturbed man who says little, but speaks volumes through his actions alone. That's always been a strength of writer-director Lynn Ramsey, who relies on harrowing imagery and carefully crafted sound design to get her stories across.
Senator, if she's there, I'll get her.
Ramsey turns in a tightly plotted narrative about a hired gun sworn to rescue the abducted daughter of a senator. Matters turn out to be more complicated than they seem, however, as our suicidal protagonist is given a reason not to give up on life. Unsettling while also being unusually hopeful, this is a dreamlike experience carried by a stellar performance from Joaquin Phoenix.
Cleary said you were brutal. I can be.
Number 2, Black Panther.
I never freeze.
Infinity War may have been more epic in size,
All I want to do
but
is check
Black
out the
Panther
comment
was the more
boxes.
personal MCU,
Says,
arguably
like,
leaving
how-
a greater
who's
impact.
okay with
Director
this
Ryan
and who's
Coogler
not okay with
ingeniously
this?
brings Wakanda out of the
And
comics
why?
and onto the silver screen, creating a culture that feels surprisingly real. Likewise, The film flawlessly integrates identifiable themes that ring true in today's political and social climates.
I am Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Chaka!
At the center of everything is a rousing rivalry between our hero and
villain,
who would be so alike if it weren't for their contrasting methods and ideologies. Throw in a winning supporting cast, detailed production values, and inventive action, and you have a universal crowd pleaser that proves Marvel fatigue will not be setting in anytime soon. Before we unveil our number one pick, here are some honorable mentions.
I don't think I can stomach any more of this garbage.
Please say Love Simon. I just watched that.
We have no other option.
Game night! Guys, you should all watch that.
Game night! Who's this?
That's Apollo.
Wow, that's amazing.
Number 1, Hereditary.
It's heartening to see so many strange new faces.
This is your number one
I know
pick.
my mom
Interesting.
would be very touched.
I mean,
Earning comparisons to
movie.
Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist. Few modern films have chilled audiences to the core quite like Hereditary. Toni Collette gives an Oscar-caliber performance as a grieving mother who's either losing her mind or becoming surrounded by madness. Millie Shapiro is equally exceptional as a troubled 13-year-old girl who will make your heart race with a click of her tongue. Where so many horror films rely on jump scares, director Ari Aster demonstrates the power of slowly creeping up on the audience. That's not to say Hereditary isn't without graphic imagery. And while the film may not be for the faint of heart, it succeeds in getting under your skin and into your head.
I just don't want to put any more stress on my family.
I think it's a fast-paced blast.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
Oh yeah, oh, nom noms. Give me my noms.
I'm gonna go get more popcorn. You want more popcorn?
yeah, go on. But hey, hurry back though. You might miss them.
Oh man, there's just so much action going on. I'm sure you won't be able to catch me up.
So many people burning up. Too many to count.
No, we went to a press screen for that. We did not get food for A Quiet Place.
no, for real. That was a list.
That was an interest. That's a very the top comment. Black Panther was better than Infinity War. Hello, you're kidding me. Look at that. All the comments are about it. Anyway, let's talk about some of these movies. Incredibles 2. Like, okay, now my personal list would be different than this for sure. For me, Deadpool 2 would be on here, at least an honorable mention.
I really like Deadpool 2.
I know that's not Deadpool 2 would definitely be on that list for similar reasons to why Incredibles 2 is on this list in some ways. Like, they're both superhero films, but different in terms of tone and style, audience, all that, and animation, live action. However, a big part of their sales pitch here for it being on this list was the idea that there was so much hype and anticipation, and could it live up to the first? And it totally delivered. It might have even exceeded expectation, or at least matched our expectation, which is a hard thing to accomplish. And I think more than Deadpool 2, universally, a lot of people are in pretty much agreement about Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
But Deadpool 2 does give me a similar type of feeling as that of, I actually prefer Deadpool 2. My personal opinion, IMO. But I'm wrong, sure, whatever.
I mean, I would join you. I really enjoyed Deadpool 2 as well, and I actually really want to go see that again. With so many movies to see, you don't always think that.
Yeah, but Incredibles 2 is, that would definitely be on my list. It might be a little higher up, actually.
I really enjoyed Incredibles 2 a whole lot. And the Incredibles 2 kind of made me appreciate both movies as a whole, a whole lot, and I had just a blast. So yeah, I mean, depending on a couple of the things that come out this year, I would go for that.
Haven't seen First Reformed. What I have heard is that Ethan Hawke hates comic book movies. And
he designed this list.
I'm sure he loves this list. As this list kept going, I'm like, oh man. He even said a whole thing about Logan. I forget the exact quote.
No. What did Ethan Hawke say?
We just gotta find the exact quote. Ethan Hawke on Logan. So here's what he said. In an interview with Film Stage, Hawke discussed what he saw as the increasing marginalization of indie movies at the multiplex. Now, we have the problem that they tell us Logan is a great movie. Well, it's a great superhero movie. It still involves people in tights with metal coming out of their hands. Now, we don't need to go any further, because I don't think he saw Logan. Where in that movie are these people in tights?
Nobody
I'm like,
in tights.
are you sure you saw Logan?
In the comic book. No, he's got the X-Men comic book in the movie.
I think you're thinking of a different movie, and then he goes on to discuss more about why he doesn't like these superhero movies and stuff, and just because it's a good superhero movie doesn't mean it's a good movie. Right when I heard that, I'm like, I don't know if you mean something else, but that's a very specific thing you're talking about, and Logan is is not that. So that's why I would love to see Ethan Hawke do a reaction to this list video right here.
Yeah. I don't agree with him there. I feel like Logan kind of, at least, I get what he means, but I think Logan is bridging a gap of some kind. I mean, I don't think it's one of the best films of all time, but I think it's a lot more of a film in terms of the superhero spectrum.
I mean, some people like that superhero stuff as an actual thing. I mean, he seems like the kind of guy who, you know, superhero and the association with it automatically has some sort of distaste.
Yeah, like a qualitative distaste. Like, oh, these are fundamentally worse movies.
Everyone I know that watches Paddington 2 acts like it's the best thing God has ever put on our planet. I have to see this movie, man. Yeah, I have to. I don't even care to watch the first one now, because it's all going to be about getting to fucking Paddington 2 at this point.
Both of them, people spoke of them as though they were like some kind of Marvel, like the Paddington movie. It's great. Like, yeah, I feel like I've missed out on some kind of fundamental human joy by not having seen it.
Everyone I know that doesn't like Christopher Robin just freaking brings up Paddington 2. And I'm like, now I kind of wish Paddington 2 didn't come out so you could still appreciate Christopher Robin, because I appreciate Christopher Robin.
Maybe they're trying to do something different.
Yeah, maybe it's just a different movie and you're comparing them because of similar aesthetics in the film.
They both have a bear and the British people.
Yeah. The description of Annihilation still made it sound like a movie the average audience could latch onto. I guess that's what my confusing part of this list kind of comes with, in terms of Annihilation and in terms of Hereditary, because you guys are like, they're not mentioning here at all how a lot of the audience is very like, I don't get it. What is it about? Like, to boil it down to, it's a horror psychological thriller with some sci-fi elements in it for Annihilation.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much more complex than you could ever pitch it to be. It's like, I think if you do a list like this, you have to acknowledge situations like that for these types of movies.
It's like if Mother popped up on a list like this, you would have to be like, well, you know, it pissed a lot of people off too.
Yeah,
like,
but you can't just be like, you know, a dramatic psychological thriller.
Some people might strongly disagree with this.
Yeah. Like calling this movie a monster film. Weirdly, it's advertised as that, but I didn't walk away thinking that at all. Like,
it has that element, but it's just one of the elements.
It's one of the many elements, and it's more than just combined genre. I don't know. It's a difficult thing to explain, but to kind of boil it down to a simplistic factor where you pitch it in a way where the average audience could hear this part of the list, or even go watch the trailer and be like, oh, I feel like I'm like, no, most people who walk out of this movie don't know what's going on. Also, people have left the theater. We saw people leaving the theater because it's just too much information sometimes to really digest.
The couple of seats down from us was just not into it at all.
And Hereditary was one we could kind of digest, and we were able to get most of it. I don't know, like movies like Annihilation, especially like the last half of that movie, is so thick in its themes and meaning and philosophy.
Watch a few times.
Yeah, it's so heavy in that, where watching the plot unfold becomes confusing. Where Hereditary, you can pretty much watch that whole plot and movie unfold to the very last scene. When it becomes confusing is in the last few minutes of that movie.
Yeah.
Annihilation, the last half of that is, I don't even know what I'm watching
right now. What's happening? Just tell me what's happening first, and then we can make sense of it later.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been important to acknowledge, especially if you're talking about the I don't know, like the pinnacle of films for the year should probably have this sort of qualitative argument and the potency argument addressed.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't have any issue at all with putting it on your list or even where you rank it. I have no issue with that.
I suppose, just how they put it.
It's just more like, this movie didn't make a lot of money.
This wasn't a huge hit.
Avengers Infinity War. You know what's funny is we have never talked about this film on the channel.
Never, not once.
This is one movie that I'm dying to finally mention. We did see it, and we gave it an okay recommendation. We just watched it one time. Didn't stay till the post-credit scene. We had to go.
Apparently Venom's going to show up.
That's what I hear. I heard Tom Hardy is going to be working with who plays Spider-Man? Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
And they're going to be combining.
Who's the best Hollywood Tom?
Yeah, it's going to be great. The best Hollywood Tom. And then Chris Pine, who plays Steve Rogers, is going to die in the next one. Yeah.
You mean Chris Hemsworth, who plays Steve Rogers?
Chris Hemsworth, I'm sorry.
Jeez.
I'm sorry. My theory is about this.
This is a very diplomatic list.
I think they put it here in the middle because they don't actually think it's their number 5. But they're like, if we don't at least put it in the top 5, we're going to get so much crap.
Yeah.
Bottom line, you stuck with your guns. You made Hereditary number 1. So even if you made this number 2 or 3, you'd still get crap. Don't you worry, guys. Don't worry about the comment boxes. I know what you were trying to do. I'm sure this is probably closer to number 10 for you. I bet this is not number 5. I would say that Infinity War is not my favorite movie of the year, but it's my favorite event movie of the year.
It certainly left a huge impression. Like,
to put it lightly.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that is an important thing.
Certainly made you think about it a little bit.
No, I'm saying, like, especially in terms of the cinematic landscape of this kind of movie.
Yes.
It did make an enormous. I mostly meant for me. I feel like of all of that type of movie, even The Incredibles 2, or we were talking about Deadpool 2 and stuff like that. I feel like of all the superhero movies that have come out lately, I feel like you could argue that either Black Panther or Infinity War belong somewhere on this list because both of them caught everyone's attention for a moment. Not just the people who care about superhero stuff. Like, Black Panther tapped into so much culture and so much celebration, and I think that's a thing worth addressing, just like divisiveness is. But Infinity War really threw down the gauntlet, no pun intended, in terms of its scale and its epic dreariness,
Are you sure that pun wasn't intended?
Which one? The gauntlet?
Yeah. There's a bunch of words you could have gone with.
I don't know, but it seemed like a big level up moment for the Marvel Universe where they did something very bold and very broad and very much fitting with the universe of comic. Like, they made this big old universe and they crashed it all together, and that's a big event. So I'll go with you on that. Like, I feel like it belongs perhaps on a list like this because of that quality.
If the Oscars does the popular film category, I think
Infinity War will win.
Infinity War deserves to win. I'll say that. I do think Black Panther should get recognition, though, for a Best Picture nominee. I'll say that, too. I don't think Infinity War should. See, like, if this popular film category works the way I would like it to, Infinity War would win, and Black Panther would get a nomination for Best Picture.
Actually, according to Jason Dolan, he broke it down, and apparently the very first Oscars had a Best Artistic Picture and a Best Popular Picture Oscar. And
what does Jason Dolan know? Thanks for the new camera we're filming on, by the way, Jason.
Quiet Place was pretty good.
Quiet Place is pretty bomb, and I think this should get a Best Picture. Honestly, their top 4 here, I'm like, I think all 4 of those should get nominated. I do.
Pretty great.
Well, I don't know if you're never really here to get a Best Picture nod. I think Joaquin Phoenix will definitely not be recognized by the end of the year because that's the way the world works.
Under that radar.
But I would like him to get nominated, and I would like.
I would love to see Lynn Ramsey get a nod for this.
I would like to see Ramsey, the chef, get nominated.
Gordon Ramsay yelling at everybody on set.
A Quiet Place, I think, should at least get some technical design nominations. If anything, do I believe it deserves a directing nomination? 100%.
I would
even
be
if
happy about that.
Even if it happened to be one of those weird cases where the picture doesn't get nominated but the directing does, I would be content with that because
John Krasinski
that's a directing. If Dunkirk, the biggest recognition for Dunkirk is the technical achievement, and Quiet Place is such a technical achievement as well on a different type of landscape and a different type of scale, and I think John Krasinski absolutely deserves to be nominated for that. I think the script is kind of okay on that film.
Yeah, that so much of what makes that movie great is the performances, the direction, the vibe, the minimal sound, all that stuff.
If you guys haven't seen You Were Never Really Here, you gotta imagine films like Taken, Equalizer, Man on Fire, but just like the super realistic version,
harshly poetic version of
what if it was a character study of this guy
and how messed up he is, seeing all this horrible side of life all the time.
Not in great shape. He's
what kind of person
suicidal.
Would take these jobs.
And you know how they always had that cliche little girl they got to rescue. What if this was like a real little girl?
Yeah.
How destroyed would she be internally?
Yeah. How crushed do you want to feel after a movie?
Yeah, it's probably the best feel-good movie of the year.
Yeah.
And Hereditary, same to me as well. Like, I would say same thing for that, what I said for A Quiet Place. If that gets a Best Director nod, but not a Best Picture nod, that would make sense to me.
Yeah, Ari Aster directed the shit out of that.
Cinematography, without a doubt, should be nominated for sure. It's funny to me that Hereditary is #1 because there's something about this list that makes me respect it now. I know the big comment boxes are all about Infinity War versus Black Panther and where it is on the list, whatever. To me, sometimes you watch these list videos and you know they're just trying to satisfy the masses.
Yeah.
But for you to put Hereditary at #1, you're sticking to your own opinion and you're sticking to your own guns, which I think is a great call.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's a divisive movie. You know, 60% audience score does not speak for the world, but those are thousands of people voting, and 60% is right there at we just made it fresh on the audience score, which to me says something. And it also got a pretty low cinema score, but a high critic score.
And I feel like there are a lot of great films that are divisive. You know, I feel like that can be a telltale quality of something pretty worth recognition.
Last Jedi.
Definitely one of the best films. Hereditary also has kind of what Quiet Place has, but with perhaps a thicker script, I would say. Like a much more intricate, like, I don't know if I think it's a perfect script, but that I would know. But I do think that, like, if that even got nominated, I would be pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
Because, like, it is a bold piece of work in every department across the board, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like this list is like a 50-50 where, like, half of it is for the populace and half of it is, like, for the film heads.
I haven't seen 3 of the movies.
True that.
But seeing what they put, I'm like, that makes sense to me.
That's the most notable stuff in my mind for the movie. There's always so much more to see, and there's always so much I haven't seen. But yeah, of all the stuff I've been, like, hyper aware of, I'm like, yeah, it seems like a pretty good list.
This list came out in July, so it's 2018 so far, but if I were to make a list now, I would probably include Crazy Rich Asians on there.
Oh, I really enjoyed that movie.
If you made it to the end of this video, I'm about to give you a treat. I'm going to do a top 10 favorite movies of the year. It's all going to be lies. I'm going to try to talk about the divisive films and the worst films, but not crack once on camera. And try to give it actual opinions. Yeah, it's going to be my ultimate test of movie fighting. It's just like, I need to
see how well you can
I need people to actually think I mean this.
Yeah. Getting your arm on white game.
Yeah. 50 Shades will be high up there. Solo will be high up there.
Oh, yeah, will be.
At the end of that video, I will put this footage in there. The very end. After 10 minutes of black.
With the song music underneath it.
Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. You guys are doing okay right now. I know that we live in tough times.
Hey, take that list and just shake it up.
Yeah,
any order is good.
Putin's president right now.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel is taking over Conan O'Brien's show. That joke's not old or makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, is there a footnotes for that joke?
I don't know. I feel like very foggy-minded right now. Hey, listen. Why don't you do us a favor if you made it this far? You must like us to some capacity. Please check us out on Patreon and help support the channel before I shut this channel down myself. There's just one button I gotta click.
It's big and red, and it's under a glass
bar on the keyboard. Many times I've almost shut down the channel.
Word processing is very hard.
You could check us out on here. Subscribe, click notification bells. No, ring the bell.
Ring it.
Everyone's fucking saying that. That
click
makes no sense. You can't ring the bell.
But it's a bell and it's figurative.
What?
Yeah, bells ring.
I still don't like the way people say that.
I get it. Clicking is what you're actually doing.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
Look, guys, you can hear the computer. When I hit this bell, does it make a ring sound?
That's what should be at the bottom of the worst ever list, is this bell.
Just saying. It's annoying.
When did you get your clothes? At the toilet store?
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Peace.
Oh, and thanks to Andrew Hayes.
Yay.
Oh, I fucked up the